Hi there, Prairie Plant Girl here. I thought today I would bring you along and just show you a little update about what's been going on in my grow room and the various places that I have all my seedlings started and going. I'm at 8 weeks before my average last frost here in Saskatchewan, Canada. I'm down in the kind of south central part of the province. So we're a zone 3. It's not really that important unless you're dealing with perennials, but people often ask me, so I thought I'd let you know. This is my little space that I grow my seedlings on. You can see it's just a very basic shelving unit. This is just the, I think they're called commercial or heavy duty or something from COSTCO. They're 18 inches, I believe, or 20 inches deep shelves, so I can fit a 10 by 20 tray like this. Lengthwise, I guess. So the short end is on the front and back. And that means I can fit 4 of those across each shelf. A lot of these shelving units are only 14 inches deep, which means you need to set your trays this way and you can only get 2, or sometimes depending on the width of the unit, you can only get 1 on a shelf. So something to look at if you're looking to invest in these. They are expensive shelving units, so you may as well get the best one that you can afford that'll fit the most amount of trays for what you need. That'd be my thoughts on that. What I have for lighting is pretty basic growing lights that you can purchase fairly cheaply on Amazon. So most of my lights are Barrina, is this one here, and it came in a set of 6. And then I have, this is a Minios or something, and it's a double tube fixture that came with cables that you can raise and lower the light with. These are both good lights. I prefer the ones that shine a little bit more on the white side. When you're just growing out seedlings and you're not looking to get like fruiting or flowering happening inside, really, if you can get some cheap like shop lighting or something, that will work just as well. I just find sometimes they can be a little bit clunkier and heavier, though I haven't shopped for them in years. Maybe there's different options out there now. But yeah, I do have a couple of like Sunblaster and Mackenzie Jiffy type light fixtures on here down at the bottom. Most of mine are 4-foot grow lights. They're 4 foot long because that just fits my unit, but they come in various lengths and sizes. And I've tried to get most of them switched out to, when I purchase new lights now, they're LED just because it takes a lot less lighting. And you can see I have a lot of lights on the shelf. The Jiffy, Mackenzie, Sunblaster, whatever they all are, they all kind of have the same look. Those, I believe, are T5 lights. They run a little bit, they're a fluorescent type of light. They run a little bit warmer and they're not as efficient of lighting, but they will work as well. And they were the least expensive thing when I purchased those originally, and they still work fairly well. So any of those will work for you. I also have a couple of sets of lights that I had purchased years ago from COSTCO, and they're a blue and a red LED light spectrum. They're in a large kind of housing, and in an update on one of the plants for this video here, you'll see that in that, and it's just a big white housing, and that one is from COSTCO. It's not my favorite light. They were very inexpensive as I was trying to switch over to LEDs, so I'd started going with those, but when I discovered these, I felt that they worked a lot better than those, and I don't even think you can get those from COSTCO anymore. But I'll put links below for any of the lights that I have that I can find to give you links for Amazon. Right now, my shelves are looking pretty full. I need to do a little reconfiguring. I'll go through with you kind of what I usually do is I look through my plants in the morning here, and some of the things that I see that I'm going to need to do this week with my plants. So I'm going to bring you over and we'll go through kind of shelf by shelf, and that'll give you a better look. Before I do that, I'm just going to show you real quick. Up here is some pansies. Now, I don't know, I've tried to start these twice. I've grown pansies many times in the past with no problems. You see how leggy these are? Pansies like to germinate in the dark. I had these under a towel. They're in complete darkness. All I've managed to get is 5 seedlings coming up out of 2 trays. This was seed I bought this year. 2 different varieties, 2 different packages. I have no idea what's going on, but I decided to just turn that light on up there. I had it off while I was trying to get these to germinate, but it's getting to the point where it's too late to really get my pansies growing out for what I wanted anyway. So I just turned the light on for these few that are going to see if I can get them to grow into something decent, and I'm just leaving them. So that top shelf is going to be filled up with other seed trays pretty soon, and those pansies I think are just going to get ditched because they're just not doing what they're supposed to do. I don't know if I got bad seed packs. I used that soil and other things. If I had it too wet, I don't know what happened with those this year. There's so many variables that it could be, but just to show you, I have complete failures sometimes too. So let's come in and I'll show you this shelf here, and then we'll work our way down. I have all my grow lights turned off right now. I just have a little kind of industrial light up there just to give me a little bit of light here while I talk to you. But the grow lights do have kind of a funky pinkish hue to them that I find can sometimes make it hard to see, especially in videos. So if you're wondering why it's so dark where I'm growing my plants, that's just because I have the lights turned off. Let's start with another failure because that's fun, right? Back in the very far back corner, I have this tray and another one. And now they've dried out completely now because I've just completely given up on them. And I just need to toss them. But that was bananas. Second year in a row I've tried to grow bananas from a seed package I purchased. And I've tried 2 different sets of instructions for doing them. Followed them very carefully. Cannot get these banana seeds to sprout. I've done all the nicking and scarifying and hot water soaking, and I don't know. I'm not supposed to grow bananas from seed. That's what I've come out of this. So I have this tray and another tray here, and they're just going to be going out to the compost because I need the room on my shelf, and I'm done giving them the space to do what is nothing. So on to better things. Here I have my little blue stem, and I just sowed this maybe 4 days ago. So there's nothing happening yet, but I expect to see growth coming in within the next week probably, I would think. So I just have it sitting here. It has a dome on it. It was getting quite wet inside, so I had the dome open, but I'm going to get it closed back up now. There is a heat mat. I don't know if you can tell, there's a heat mat under here, but it's not actually plugged in or turned on. I'm not using heat to grow those. But it's here because the next time I need heat for something, which will be this week probably, I'll move the things off of this mat and get the things that need heat on there. This is my Prairie coneflower. Hopefully you can see I have germination and seedlings coming up in every cell except for this one right here. There's a tiny seedling right in the corner of that one there. And there's a few over here, so I'll be able to pop one out and put it here. I'll just wait till they have a little bit more growth, and then I'll move one over. And that's what I'll do for those. And I'll have 12 plants or maybe even a couple more of the Prairie coneflower there. You can see it is hot in this room. 27 degrees Celsius. This shelf here has my flowering cabbage on it. I'm gonna have to double check the package on that, but I'm pretty sure there's something I'm supposed to do when they get to be about 4 to 6 inches long. Maybe have another week or two. This one's about 3 inches. So I probably have a little bit more time yet, and then I need to come in and do something with that. So I'll find out what that is when I refer to my pack again, and I'll maybe show you what I'm doing with them. I didn't do it last year, I don't think. So I'm gonna try that this year. Right here I have a tray of dianthus and another tray of dianthus. So my dianthus is looking really nice, and I will come and pinch these pretty quick because they're getting, show you on this one is easier. Like this plant here is getting quite leggy. So I'm just gonna be coming through and trying to give it a little pinch, see if I can do it with my fingernail. Yeah, just take the top kind of set of leaves off and get it to branch out a bit more. And I'll do that with these that are getting quite long. Some of them are starting to spool out at the bottom a little bit, but that'll just encourage some of that and some more branching. There's my celery after a month and a half, I think it's been now. So you can see why you start it so early. It takes a long time. Oh, and it looks like a fungus gnat too. So that's something else I need to do this week, is just go through and put up a few more sticky traps. I have a few, but not a lot up, and now I have so many plants in here I really need to deal with that because that'll get these under control. This is my delphiniums. I know one of my viewers was concerned when I planted these they'd always heard that you had to do some cold treatment with the delphinium seeds and special growing instructions, and I just planted them just like the package said, which was basically to put them in and I believe barely cover them, and they all popped up quite quickly and are doing well. So I don't know if it's just the variety she has compared to what I had, but mine came up quite well, so I'm happy about that. It's the first time growing them from seed. And this is the bunny tails grass. Someone else was wondering theirs hadn't been coming up, and I have lots coming up, and I just thrown a few extra seeds in the back of this one pack and they all popped up right away too. So they can even just be thrown on top of the soil, because that's all I did with the second set, and they come up quite well. So I'm thinking if they're not coming up easily for you, re-sow them and try again, because they should come up quite quickly if they have the right conditions. This is the Dusty Miller. They've come up really nicely, and you can see how they're starting to get that real tinge on their true leaves, that kind of grayish silvery hue. That is what you grow the plants for, and it's kind of fun to see them change to that as they get larger here. These are the decorative ipomia or sweet potato vines that I'm growing off of a tuber that I saved from my plants last fall, and I have several. I have a whole tray of them down on the bottom shelf as well. They're doing quite well. These are the Sunny Regatta, I think it is, dahlias that I'm growing from seed. First year growing dahlias from seed, and so far I'm happy with the results. I have 4 cups in the back here of just some of the extra snapdragons and foxgloves that were in my row tray or channel tray when I popped them out to other seedling trays, and I just saved some of the extras just in case I had anything go wrong. You know, you never know, and there's so many of them, so I just threw a few in these cups. And then I have my 2 little rosemary that I think I planted, was it down back in January or February? They've been quite a while ago that I sowed the seeds for these, and they're growing quite nicely, so I'm very happy with those. A couple of days ago I went through and sowed a whole bunch of different herbs and things, and the mint is doing nothing, but I have some lemon balm. I don't think I did this for a video, but the lemon balm is coming up after just a couple of days. And the mint, nothing yet. I'll give this a little spritz later on to just make sure it's nice and moist on top of the soil until these seeds germinate. And I'll also give this a spritz because they're so small. You want to make sure they stay moist while they're getting established there. So I just take just a sprayer and I just give them a light spray on top, just to make sure that they have the moisture they need when they're so young and small, because even with the little seedlings that the lemon balm are, those roots are not anywhere near going down to the bottom of this tray to be soaking moisture up. And instead of bottom watering with something like this, I'd rather just have the moisture right at the top where the roots are and not having so much moisture. It helps again with like gnats and things to just kind of control how much moisture you're giving if you don't need to be giving it. I also found a chili pepper at the store, the seeds for it, so I've planted this, and that was just a couple of days ago as well. So this is behind my other hot peppers because it hasn't even germinated, but it'll be fine. It'll come up. This is just a, like small chilies that I can pick to make into like chili powder, and to have the little seeds in that for adding the little kick to dishes. And I like to dry my little chilies and add them to jars of pickles and things. So that's what this will be for. And then I sowed my sweet peppers in a video, I think a week ago, and they're starting to come up. This tray is not the best example. The only one coming up is the Sweet Sunrise in here right now, but I have a few coming. These are on a heat mat, so they're with some warmth. And then I have 2 more trays. So I have my Early Prolific, my Antoi Romanian, Candy Cane, Pathfinder. That's actually a hot pepper that I missed when I was planting my other hot peppers. Sweet Banana, I think that's what that is. No, Sweet Lipstick, and Mini Bells. Those are all coming up now. Might not be able to see some of them in this package, but there they are. So most of my sweet peppers, most of my peppers actually, are up. and sprouted now. I have more on another shelf. So let's pop down. Let me tell you first of all what I noticed while I was going through these, because I look at this stuff every morning. And so like I said, these guys, these little seedlings, anything like this that's small or hasn't actually germinated yet, as I'm going through the shelves, I'm going to take note of that, and I'll be making sure they get just a spray on top. Things like this that are a little bit of a stronger seedling and do have a bit more of a root, I'll just be checking, are they damp on top? And I will start to be bottom watering these pretty soon, because the peppers are just a larger seedling and they will have a larger root down at the bottom. So they'll be getting some bottom watering. These I noticed are almost bone dry when I picked them up. They're like so light I just about could toss them when I lift them, because you expect them to be heavier. So these will definitely be getting watering, and these cups have little slits in the bottom, so I'll be bottom watering them. They have a huge root mass inside. Get this pepper back over here. And I think a couple more things on this tray do. The rosemary doesn't seem to need watering as often, so I'll pop them out while this tray is full of water to bottom water these other plants, and then once the water's mostly soaked up, I'll set them back in. And these dahlias could use a bit of water too, and you can see how big they are, so they'll get the bottom water as well. This container seemed like it was still pretty moist, so I won't worry about watering them at all. And I think that was everything. Yeah, everything else on the shelf was looking like it was good for water. So I'll be coming back in later and just, like I said, bottom watering the things that need it, and spraying the other things that are smaller. Now let's go look at the other shelf. So this shelf here, this is the third shelf down. So this right here is the lobelia that I seeded or sowed just a couple of days ago in a video. I think it was last week. I can't remember if it was early in the week or late in the week. I had a very busy weekend this past weekend, so I'm starting to lose track of days here. But they are just starting to pop up. I don't know if you'll even be able to see it in camera because they're so small. The white lady came up first, and the Crystal Palace, which is the blue lobelia, is just starting. I just have a few cells going with that. So they're coming, but they're a little bit slower. These are the brassicas, so my cauliflower, my broccoli, and my Brussels sprouts, and they're coming up quite nicely. I have 2 cells with nothing in them, and I can see just by looking at it and by the feel that this tray needs water. This tray could use a little bit, but it's not as bad. But we're getting so that the shelf below has those T5 lights on it, and they're a lot hotter, so the heat comes up. I actually need to move these brassicas somewhere to a different shelf where they're not sitting over the hot lights, because it does dry them out quickly and it's providing more heat to them that they don't need. Again, like I said, I had sown a few more herbs the other day, and what do I have here? Some wintertime, some broadleaf sage, and I see one little tiny cumin coming out. The cilantro, I don't see anything on it yet, but those are coming. Cilantro and cumin are, all of these really, you could direct sow, but in my climate, it's recommended to get these started a little bit sooner so that you can get a better result from them. These are my hot peppers. They've come up quite nicely. I think I have every cell except one of the Sugar Rush Peach come up. So that's more than enough. I'll really probably just do 1 planting of each of these varieties, but it'll have 2 plants in each hole. So I have enough to do that. That's all my goal was. I will be taking these this week and bumping them up into larger containers. This is a clear, so I don't know if you can see the roots are coming out the bottom there, and they're drying out every day. Just about, it's still wet today, but like I said, it was a busy weekend, so I may have given them a little extra water yesterday in my rush. But yeah, these will get bumped up to larger containers. I'll probably go straight up to a 3.5, 4-inch size pot and just put them in there, and they'll last there for probably at least a month. And I'll probably wind up moving them up to an even larger, deeper pot before they wind up going outside. But so these, I have 3 little trays, so I'll show you the rest in a minute. But if you recall, when I was doing some work with planting the foxglove and my snapdragons and things, I said I'd found some mystery seeds. It was just a vial just randomly laying in like a random container. Like I keep my seeds in these little photo containers, and I have a few containers that I just keep like extra packaging and things if I collect seeds to put them in. And I found a vial of pelleted seeds. So I just planted it because I really had no idea what they were, and I thought, well, if they need to get started early, they need to get started. So I did them. Pretty sure there's some sort of snapdragon. So I'm not sure why they had no package with them and they were just in a vial all by themselves. I'm not sure what happened with that, but so that's the one pack. And then there's a couple more here. So you might remember I put these in a channel or row tray, and now they're just in these packs. Whatever it is, they have, some have this darker purple leaf color. And then I kind of separated them in, so these ones are just a very bright green. I'm not sure what the variety is, but I'm positive they're snapdragons. So the rest of this shelf is actually lettuce that I'm sure you've probably seen me sow most of this in various videos, and I've been harvesting off of it. You can probably see on the bottoms how much I've been taking the leaves off the bottoms. And these I'm gonna try and just pop out in the greenhouse with some protection. It's supposed to be snowy and cold the next couple days, and then it'll still be freezing and not great, but they're just taking up too much room in here, and I need room for my seedlings. So I'm gonna pop them out there under some frost blankets, and we'll just see what happens. I'll harden them off for a few days first. I won't just throw them out there. And behind the lettuce, is 2 pots of calibrachoa. They're connected to each other. These are just plants that I dug up out of a hanging basket I had last year. So I just had grown these from seed that I had collected from calibrachoa the year before, and I grew these last year, pulled the whole plants out and decided to just try and overwinter them, and they've done beautifully. I'll probably take cuttings in another month or so and separate them into some pots and see if I can get several calibrachoa going that way. They're looking really good. They're taking up a lot of space here, but they definitely can't go out in the greenhouse. It is definitely not warm enough for them. 2 more shelves left, so they're much lower down here. Let's see if we can get you down to have a look at them. So this shelf here, you can see, doesn't have very much height between it and the next shelf. I just use it for getting seeds started and established. So since I'm holding this tray here, I have 2 different kinds of snapdragons, I think, 2. Yeah. So I have the Potomac Early Orange and Rocket Mix. The Rocket Mix is seed I saved from my own snapdragons. The Potomac Early Orange, I think, was from stems. Some bright-eyed chrysanthemum. There's some feverfew here, and there are just like 1 or 2 little seedlings coming up out of it, so I'm kind of disappointed with the germination rate of that. Yarrow, again, I only have like 3 or 4 little seedlings coming up in there, so I'm not very happy with that. You can also see a fungus gnat on there right now, and I'm not happy about that. That's one of those things I really need to get done today, is get some more sticky traps set up. And then Salpiglosis right here, you might know it as painted tongue or paisley flower, I think. So those are a pretty nice flower that I enjoy having. So I'm gonna need to go through and get these pulled out and put into separate trays. So I won't be keeping all of these that have grown quite a few, but I'll probably keep half a dozen to a dozen of each of these varieties. Again, the ones that only have 2 or 3, obviously I won't, but just keep a couple. This tray down here has Bacopa, and that is from seed that I saved. I believe I did a video on that, and I wasn't sure if that seed, how good it was, because it seemed like it was a lot of chaffy bits in there, but they're growing quite well, and I think all but maybe one cell had germination in it, so that's really good. And I also have planted some Minios here. It's my first time trying to grow it from seed, and I only have 2 after a week, I think, week and a half now maybe, that have come up, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that. The Bacopa looks like I need to come through again and just do a little bit of pinching back to take the tops off of some of these leggy plants and encourage them to to spool out and branch out a little bit. The Minios, I'll be spraying this down just to make sure that the seeds are staying damp. And I'm not sure. I'll give them another week, and then I think, because I think they were supposed to be 7 to 14 days, and if I haven't seen any more germination after that, I'll just pull the couple that are here and I can use this tray for something else. I'll put the couple that did come up in something else. And because the cope is up and the Minios isn't, I've just been using this food tray as a bit of a humidity dome to help with that. So what else? These are my onions. They're looking pretty good. I usually use a deeper tray to plant them in, and I think that's affecting these. So I may go and bump these out later. We'll see. We've got a lot of snow cover this year, so some years I'd be looking at maybe just putting them into the garden soon, but I don't think I'll be able to do that this year. So I may have to bump these up just because this tray isn't very deep. Usually I plant them in probably something that's about twice as deep, and I think this was a mistake using this shallow of a container. This just needs to go to the compost. This is just whatever was left of the snapdragons and foxgloves that were in the channel tray from the first sowing, and I forgot about them back there. Again, there's the T5 lights under this shelf, and things dry out a lot faster on this shelf, so gotta keep up with it. So this is my foxgloves and snapdragons from the first set of planting. So there's what, Snaptastic, Snaptini, and Ribbon Mix snapdragons, and then the Camelot foxgloves that were from Saved Seed. And I had a lot of kind of mold happening on this tray for whatever reason. So I lost a few of the seedlings that I pricked out, and I've just been kind of leaving them for now while I'm busy and don't have time to deal with them. But well, the ones that are doing well are doing very well, and they'll give me enough for what I need. These will probably go out actually to the greenhouse in a couple of weeks. You can see I have these lights. I left these on these two bottom shelves here because they're a very white light. That is the nice thing about these, is they don't mess with your eyes so much as the LEDs that I have. So way down at the end here is just the rest of those Ipomia. These are the decorative sweet potato vines. So that's just a tray of, I don't know, a dozen or so, way more than I need, but I just kept them there. This is all the native plants that you've seen me sowing out in a video probably. So I only have a couple that have actually germinated, and that is the Lindley's Aster. There's germination in three cells, so I'm not sure if that's all I'm going to get out of this, but I'm fine with that. Just, you know, for a native plant, just to get a couple in here. They will spread and grow if I can get them successfully transplanted out into the yard and growing. So I'm good with that. I can feel there's too much water in this, so this is going to need to be drained out when I come through and do my maintenance with this stuff later today. I do still have the dome on this because I was still waiting for more germination. But I have the holes open in the top just so that the little seedlings aren't getting too wet in there. There doesn't seem to be an issue with moisture in here, so that's kind of what I look for. That's getting enough airing out that I can tell the bottom. Again, I just ran through with water real quick on the weekend because I had other things going on I had to leave for, so some things maybe got a bit overwatered on the weekend. Yeah, a few of these did, I can tell. So there's nothing happening in this. This is the alum root. 3-flowered avens, there's nothing. The pasque flower or prairie crocus, nothing. What's this one? Dotted blazing star, nothing happening in there. Do I see something in this one? No. What's this? The hairy golden aster. And the tufted fleabane. So most of them haven't done anything for me yet. The purple prairie clover is growing very nicely and looking good. So these are the sweet potato vines that I grew off a store-bought sweet potato. So this is the edible ones over on this end. And I have several plants going here. I could have grown a lot more, but I stopped at 5 because I really don't even know if I'm going to actually get sweet potatoes off of them in my climate, and they take up a lot of space, so I'm still not even exactly sure how I'm going to make room for them, but I thought it would be a fun thing to try. I also have some petunias growing there down in my basement because they like a cooler temperature, and actually my lobelia, the package said to do that with them too. I don't think I've ever taken them to a cooler space before, but I thought I would give that a try this year since the package says to do that. So once they get to the 4-leaf stage, they're going to go down to that cooler room as well. But I'll put a little shot of the petunias in there. There's 2 sets of shockwave petunias, and those I planted in a video. And then I have a mixed multiflora seed package that I picked up. I was looking for a purple wave and I couldn't find it like I usually do. So I picked up this multiflora, and it should be good. That's the kind, they're smaller flowers, but they're a lot of flowers on them, and they stand up well to weather. So I planted the rest. They're a little bit behind because they were a few weeks later being planted, but they're just down in a cooler room in my basement in front of a window. It's not getting a lot of sunlight there, so they have this grow light propped on top of them there, and they're doing well with that. And then I have my carpet thyme. It's out in my greenhouse. I did a video about that, growing it and sowing it, and it's on a heat mat out in the greenhouse, and it's doing quite well. And I noticed this morning that it was also germinated as well. So I have my ranunculus. I took a little clip. They have rooted. I didn't check every single one, but they look like they're rooting quite nicely. They're out in my garage, and some of them are starting to sprout as well. So they're doing what I expect at this point, and I'm quite happy with them. That's about 3 weeks now for them. So I think that pretty much covers what I have going on here in the grow room. Like I said, I have a few things that need to be watered, a few things that maybe need some water dumped out of them, and a couple things that need potting up. So that's what I kind of look for as I go through every day. Oh, and I need to put those sticky traps out because I'm starting to notice fungus gnats, and we want to take care of that. So I just hang a couple sticky traps from each shelf usually. I do have a few that stick in the sides of pots, so I might put some of those in if I notice some of my pots that are causing more issues for me with fungus gnats, and that's all I do for those. Otherwise, I'll just go through my bacopa and what was it, my dianthus, I think, need a little bit of pinching back, so I'll do that. And that'll be my morning chores for my seed shelf here. I need to start organizing things a little better so I can fit the next round of seeds that's coming up this week on the shelf. So thanks for sticking around with me. I hope you found this kind of interesting to see my seed setup and kind of what I'm looking at and how things are going. And we'll catch you in the next one. Bye.